Hello and welcome back, everybody. Now, people always say that Batman could beat almost anybody with some prep time, but can he really? Anyways, I took inspiration from Gotham Paladin's video on what would happen if Batman was in the boys universe, and I thought to myself, what about an even more powerful Omni-Man? Now, I won't be comparing Batman to the entirety of the Invincible universe with all of its characters. I'm just going to be checking out how Batman would take down Omni-Man before he takes over the world with the Viltrumite Empire. Because Omni-Man, he's taken some hits before. As well, to preface all of this, it will be taking place in the Invincible universe and not in the big old Gotham City. Also, don't take any of this in relation to the show's events. This is kind of in its own bubble, sort of. Just a one-on-one with some help. But Batman will have his regular gadgets on his belt, but have access to like a base level lab to test and create whatever gadgets he needs to take down Omni-Man, of course, aka Nolan. So yeah, no Phantom Zone.
Going up, ma'am?
No, you're going.
So, Bruce has found himself in quite the predicament. He's made fun of Flash on his birthday, which Barry did not like, and now Bats is in the Invincible universe on Earth. So thanks, Barry. So, throughout the early stages, Batman will have to learn of his new situation where he is. And I'm going to be setting this situation with Invincible kind of out for the count, not really superheroing right now, but still available. And Nolan is about to leave the planet to go get the rest of the Viltrumite Empire. So, Bruce realized what Nolan is about to do, and now Batman has a new task to stop Nolan from informing the rest of the Viltrumite Empire to come to Earth, as it's ready for the big old takeover. Now, in my opinion, Bruce would immediately try and learn as much as he could on Omni-Man, and what makes him tick, realizing he's almost unbeatable. Now, I know I'm rushing this because this would most likely take him quite a while, at least a few months, we never know, to establish all of his technology to the point where he can use surveillance and research. But it may take a little while to get there, to learn everything, to go through the news and everything. Anyways, so unlike Superman, Batman can't just quickly harvest some kryptonite, weaken Omni-Man, and capture him. This is a bit of a longer process. And remember, Batman does not kill. So, I would think that Bruce would go and try to contact Invincible to learn as much as possible. The next person with a massive amount of data on Nolan would be Cecil. Now, Cecil would be a gold mine for Bruce, and I really do think that Cecil would somehow believe Batman if he was able to convince him. Because after Darkwing's death, a new similar man who's much more powerful comes to him without Cecil ever knowing about him. Yeah, I think Cecil would believe Bruce. Anyways, after gaining more and more knowledge with the aid of Cecil and his new technology, Bruce would be able to figure out the true kryptonite for Omni-Man and the rest of the Viltrum Empire. Well, to be honest, there's actually a few. Of course, the first being a specific frequency shown in the comics, when played correctly and loud enough, can obliterate any Viltrumite's attempt at fighting. Now, I do think Batman would be able to harness this to halt Omni-Man and capture him, but really the capturing part is also the hardest. But as well as the frequency, there's the deadly Scourge virus, which would make any Viltrumite shudder in fear with just the name. Now, this virus is absolutely deadly to Omni-Man, and is a very viable way to kill him. And finally, the third way to render a Viltrumite useless would be the Klaxus plant. Now, the Klaxus plant is very powerful, very powerful. It has the ability of stripping any Viltrumite's power right from them, making them as vulnerable as Batman's human body. But also in the comics, the Viltrumite Empire did learn of this, and they kind of threw some beetles over it, whatever, to eat it up. But anyways, it's still terrifying and can destroy any Viltrumite. Now, the issue is that Bruce would have an insanely hard time getting his hands on the Klaxus plant. He has little to no connections with any alien civilizations outside of Earth in the Invincible universe. It would be a great challenge. But with Bruce's now connection to Cecil, it could be possible. If only it wasn't on an unknown world. Yeah, so I went on the Invincible Wikipedia, and yeah, not much.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
Anyways, I'm going to have to rule out the Klaxus plant because of Batman's little time in this universe, as well as challenge to get. Batman doesn't want to stay here for years. He wants to get back to Gotham and back to his world. So, now Batman is stuck with a frequency and the Scourge virus, but a better beginning than nothing. So with Cecil's help, I believe Bruce and him could test the frequency secretly on Invincible. Now, with this partnership, it could be very beneficial for Bruce and Cecil. Cecil stops Omni-Man, and Batman saves the world. Anyways, with slight testing on Invincible, maybe on a lower level or farther away, they would figure it out. They could test on Invincible and see what frequency ticks him, because he is, of course, Viltrumite. And once they find it, they could harness that frequency and use Cecil's big boy resources to play at absurdly high levels. But we'll keep that in mind for now. So, the second tool Batman would utilize now would be the Scourge virus, which has been synthesized to hit Omni-Man's immune system hard and lessens their invulnerability and strength to the point where Batman could don a similar suit like he did in Batman v Superman and beat the shit out of Omni-Man. So now that we have both of the weapons out of the way and secured, Batman would finally look at the second portion of taking down Omni-Man, the actual capture and holding of him. So here's the plan. Using Mark as bait, Cecil and Batman would plan a fake meeting, hitting Omni-Man where he hurts more than any other Viltrumite, his emotions. Mark would ask Nolan to meet up with him so he could help his father in capturing Earth, something Nolan's always wanted and wanted for his son, who's now a Viltrumite. And I know Omni-Man has a great hearing, so Bruce and Cecil will have to be very far away. But with connection to massive speakers, and I mean massive speakers, layered around the room, it could work. But you may be wondering, how could the virus get into Nolan's bloodstream to actually affect him? Because as you could probably guess, just like Superman, any normal needle won't be able to pierce a Viltrumite's skin. It's way too thick. It's way too strong. So to combat that, Batman can turn the Scourge virus into a gas form. And as Nolan would breathe it in, well, he's pretty much cooked. It would go into his bloodstream. And at that moment, all the speakers, preferably Sony, not sponsored, but hey, I'm here, would all play simultaneously, with the Scourge virus now in gas form spurting out into the room, and before Omni-Man has time to notice, he's already on the ground writhing in pain with the frequency, stopping him from getting away for the moment. And as the gas begins to enter his bloodstream, Nolan would be extremely vulnerable, where Bruce comes back into play. Now, at this point, Mark would hopefully gone and has fallen away before this all happens. But now Nolan is not alone. With the help of a beefed-up suit, Batman would enter the room and begin beating the hell out of Omni-Man, with little to no fighting back, because he physically can't. And now, finally, as Omni-Man is knocked out, Bruce brings him back to Cecil's little man cave. So there you go. That's how. So, how are they going to keep Omni-Man there? Well, in my opinion, it kind of gets dark from here. But Cecil should secure Omni-Man quickly, right away, in an extreme containment facility. And I know he's got plenty of those. And as he's locked down, instead of the virus wearing away, Omni-Man would be injected with a Scourge every day to make sure he stays weak and vulnerable, just enough where he doesn't die. Now, hopefully at this point, Flash is nice enough to come back and bring Batman back to Earth. And the only man with a problem now is Cecil. So yeah, definitely a bit rough with many things that could go wrong in the plan, but overall, that's how I think Batman would be able to defeat Omni-Man without killing him. Though it's pretty evil, and after a while, I don't know what Omni-Man would do. It's kind of a depressing life, and I think Invincible will probably get too mad at Cecil and break his father out. So yeah, definitely a bit rough, of course, but that's how I believe Batman could defeat Omni-Man without killing him, and it does work, and putting him to a state of disarray. But Omni-Man is a very different opponent, and one that Bruce would find to be a large challenge. Both all of those super strong heroes like Superman and Omni-Man, once you find the weakness, it's more about containment if you don't want to kill them. It's just kind of what you're going to do with them. But overall, per usual, with some handy prep time, Batman could practically defeat any foe he's faced with, which I know pisses a lot of you off, but for the most part, I mean, I see a lot of comments saying that prep time, it could work for anybody, but I think for Batman specifically, it's just so helpful because without superpowers, he needs the prep time to prepare and actually learn what the opponents do. Batman's a superhero because he can study his opponents so well and create countermeasures like he did with Omni-Man. I would love to do more of these because the Invincible universe is a bit of a mess and there's so many different civilizations and factors, as well as most of the people's base knowledge being with the show and not the comics. But anyways, I'm yapping. Please let me know down below what Bruce could have done differently and what else you guys want to see Batman in the future defeat. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I know a lot of you will disagree with me in the comments. Please let me hear them. But anyways, thanks to Gotham Paladin for the inspo. He may not be too happy I took the Omni-Man away from him in the series, but other than that, stay safe and goodbye.